How do you tell when you cross that line from frugal to cheap? Let's talk about it. It's Coffee Chat. We recently invited our viewers to leave us scenarios in the community tab that maybe were a little bit blurry on that line between whether it constituted frugal or whether it was just plain cheap. We're going to give you our opinions in this video. But first, if you don't know us, I'm Hope, and usually I'm here with my husband Larry. But today, my two youngest sons, taking a break from winter classes, have joined me to give you their unvarnished opinions about whether it's frugal or whether it is cheap. This is Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality. All right, let's get started. Cynthia says, kitchen scenario. You're going to make a homemade pumpkin pie.
I support this so far.
All right. You get the frozen pumpkin out of the deep freeze and see it has a date on it of 4 years ago.
Oh.
Boy.
You figure you're not eating it for its health benefits anyway. So you make it into a delicious pumpkin pie and you serve it to your family at Christmas without saying a thing. All right. Your verdict. Is it frugal or is it cheap?
I'd say it's frugal. We've done similar things before. I'm sure we have food that's older in the freezer.
Probably.
All right, so I have to say, so my first thought was, this is the truth, Cynthia. I thought, so my concern would be maybe it would taste a little bit freezer-ish, a little freezer burnt. So I would probably plan to add a little bit more spices.
I said, just keep pouring the cinnamon.
Cinnamon, a little more nutmeg, a little more heavy on the spices than I normally would have made it. And you betcha, Cynthia, I would serve that pumpkin pie.
Yep.
Bella, I save all my meat bones and vegetable scraps to make different homemade broths in my crock pot, so there's never a need to buy store-bought boxed broths. There's zero food waste in our home. We definitely support the zero food waste.
Oh, absolutely, that's frugal. We do the same thing.
Yeah, we absolutely
Well, not
do.
with bones, because, we don't have bones.
Only bones we have are the ones in our bodies.
That is correct. No meat bones in this house. Maria, I brew my own coffee, and we do too. And I only go shopping when I absolutely have to. Most of my groceries are generic. All right, so let's deal with the brew your own coffee thing.
Yeah, that's frugal. Don't be going to Starbucks every day. I don't understand it.
No, truthfully, so your girlfriend and you just did some frugal math. I guess this is what frugal kids do on their dates. And you did some math to figure out, you actually have it on your phone. You still have the math there? Okay, go.
No.
So they figured out.
Okay, so
Right.
Your standard cup of coffee is probably going to run you about $7. Let's say you're getting that 5 days a week, so you're only getting it during the workday. You're doing that for 52 weeks. There are going to be some breaks here and there, but just for the sake of argument, every single week you're doing this. You're spending $1,820 on coffee alone.
All right. And so now I noticed that you said like $7. So that's the fancy schmancy coffee, as we call it.
Well, yeah, if you're just buying black coffee, why are you buying it from
going-
Starbucks?
Why are you going to Starbucks?
You can make black coffee.
Okay, so $1,800 for coffee or coffee from home, which costs you substantially less. We're going with this is frugal. It's definitely not cheap. All right, she only goes grocery shopping when she has to. Like, yeah, why would you go to the store just to walk around?
That's how it
agree with
works.
that. Most of our groceries generic. All right, where do you boys fall? I can't wait to see what they say about some of these.
Okay, it depends on the product. There are some products that I find the name brand to be superior.
Like Doritos.
Doritos,
Doritos,
Oreos.
I will spend $5.50 for a bag of Doritos because it's just not the same as the generic Aldi brand.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. But if you're talking beans, beans are beans. You don't need to be getting your bushes.
And we should note that I don't buy them snacks. Like, as soon as you turn 16, if you want something extra. Actually, it was before that. When did I start having you buy your own snacks?
When I started
You want
working.
snacks?
Yeah.
So
When I was making my own wage, I was old enough to budget. And when I'm old enough to budget, I decided I'm making a snack category because I'm not giving that up. I'm a teenager. I'm hungry 24/7.
So I have to say, because this is one of the questions that we get, so we stopped giving you allowance at the age of 14. So he did odd jobs. He did jobs for other people to earn his own money. But he gave us a list of things that he was saving to buy.
Yep.
and we paid for half of the cost of those items. He had to save up the other half first, and then we gave him the second half of it in order to buy items. So actually, from the age of 14, you were doing a significant portion of your own budgeting in order to purchase things. So are we going with it's not difference between frugal and cheap. It's whether it's tasty or not tasty. Is that what we're going with?
I would say so.
All right. So Maria, you can buy your off-brand Doritos for your family. That's cool. But apparently with my boys, it is on-brand Doritos or they're not going to bother to buy it. A viewer said, I saved bread heels in a bread bag in the freezer. When that bag is full, I add ingredients to make French toast casserole, and I've just created a free breakfast for 2 days.
First of all, why aren't you just eating that heel? I don't know why you're saving it.
Yeah.
I would just make a sandwich with it.
Heel
But
discrimination.
But no, if you don't like the heel, make something out of it, bake it up in the oven to make croutons. Don't be wasting it. That's silly. I don't understand people who do that.
People throw heels. You got to tell us be brave. Tell us in the comment section, do you throw your bread heels out? But I will say that whoever left this comment, I am full on with this whole idea of the French toast casserole.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think that
yeah.
sounds yummy.
That sounds lovely.
I'm totally in line with that. But I vie for the heels. My boys know, do not touch the bread heels because they are mine.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the heels. Workplace scenario. This is a fun one.
Ooh.
You come to work, park your car. You get out to see there is an intact banana lying in the employee parking lot.
What's the banana doing there?
Yes, my first thought is, oh, that poor person.
What did the banana do to them?
You pick up the banana. You stick it in your lunch bag because you like bananas. Frugal or cheap?
No, that is where I'm drawing the line.
No way.
No, that's cheap. I'm sorry. I don't know where that banana's been. I don't want to know.
I don't know what that banana did to someone to make them throw it away, but clearly it was something bad.
So I gotta say, my first thought is not that somebody threw it on the ground, but that they accidentally dropped it. And I'm feeling empathy for the person who is going to get in their lunch bag and go, what happened to my banana? I knew I put it in my lunch bag. And I'm feeling upset for them. I might even, depending on the size of the company, I would probably pick it up from the employee parking lot. And I don't know if there's like a way you can send emails.
Stick it in lost and found.
No, I would send an email to the rest of the staff and say, hey, I found this banana. If you accidentally drop this, let me know. I would try to get the banana back to its rightful banana owner.
No, my problem is it's been sitting there too long. I don't know how long it's been sitting there, but there are all kinds of stuff on that.
Okay.
It's long past the 5-second rule.
Lauren says, when I'm nearing the end of my chapstick tube, which is so sad when that happens, you know, especially when you're out in public and you're like trying to like get, and you're like putting it across your lips and squeezing real hard to try to get it on your lips. I go in with a Q-tip to ensure I get all the product out, cheap or frugal.
No, that's frugal. It's there to be used. I don't know why they've got that little... Well, I know for the mechanism's sake that they've got that little spike in the middle, but it's really annoying.
So, Lauren, my only comment is I don't use a Q-tip. I use a toothpick because it's got that sharper end and you can get into corners a lot easier, and it doesn't it sticks to the Q-tip. So use a toothpick instead of a Q-tip. That is what I use successfully.
You like playing Russian roulette with your chapstick then?
No, I just have to be really careful when I'm applying it to the lips to make sure I don't like stab myself with the toothpick. All right, my friend buys kids' jeans only for on $10 days from Children's Place. Then, when her kids outgrow them, she hands them down to me, cheap or frugal.
Oh, absolutely frugal. I feel like most of the clothes in my wardrobe growing up were hand-me-downs.
Most of the clothes in my wardrobe right now are hand-me-downs.
You're welcome.
I'm a huge fan of hand-me-downs, and if your friend is going to go and buy them brand new at Children's Place and she's paying $10, I'm all for it. That is definitely frugal and not cheap. Tanya has been Under the Medium viewer for years and years and years. Cutting off the tops of old socks to use as hair ties.
Huh? Sorry?
Tanya.
So, no, please don't do this.
I don't know about that one.
See, I would be afraid, Tanya, that I would be out in public and people would be going, is that a pair of old socks she's got tying her hair back? It's not the difference between cheap and frugal for me. It's just like, do I really? I can't. I don't know if I was wearing them around the house, I might, but I definitely would not wear those in public. But hair ties just aren't that expensive, so I'm going to go with a no on that one.
You can buy a pack of 10 of them at the dollar store.
However, Tanya also suggests, I'm interested to see what you guys think of this, saving a small amount of leftover mac and cheese from a box in the freezer and then using it as like a starter when you're making homemade mac and cheese. So you already have like a base going.
That feels like extra steps because you still have to make more macaroni and you still have to make more cheese. That's just adding a weird middleman.
Yeah. So it's like not, I get it as a cost-cutting measure because I've made mac and cheese from scratch before. It's expensive. Cheese is expensive.
That's true.
And so I get trying to like cut part of that off. So I'm feeling like she's saying, so part of that mac and cheese will be the cheap, but you can't tell the difference because it's in with the expensive
I guess so if it's a
ingredients.
filler, but if there's leftover mac and cheese, it's not lasting long in this house.
No.
I don't know if we ever had leftover mac and cheese.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Cynthia, taking the first available parking space and then walking across the parking lot to save an itty-bitty amount of gas. Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely frugal. That is not cheap. Not only that, like you get more steps in. I'm a very competitive person, Cynthia. I am. And I'm like, once somebody tells me you got to get 10K steps a day, I'm like, the kids have found me downstairs in the family room, like just walking in place. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's 11:50. I got to get another 500 steps in and I'm doing it before midnight so that my Fitbit tells me I got 10,000 steps. Yeah.
But no, I know that if I get to college 10 minutes early, there are probably going to be some pretty good spaces not terribly far away, and I just back time and take one of those and then walk the rest of the way.
Speaking of college, short intermission break. Daniel is just finishing up his third year of college. He is getting ready to transfer to a 4-year university, and he is studying to be an high school English lit teacher.
That's correct.
And writing teacher. And he is like super excited about it.
Oh, yeah.
And Philip is a senior in high school who is graduating a year early with all of his credits. And he is going to go into IT. There you go. So now you know the story. And they're taking a break. This is Christmas break. So they're super excited. Alrighty. So you like to decorate for fall. Here's the scenario.
Okay.
But instead of carving a pumpkin, you put stickers on it. Or you paint the face on it because you're going to eat it later. And you're also going to bake your decorative squashes and eat them too. Frugal or cheap?
No, that's frugal. We do that all the time.
Done it a million times. Yeah, absolutely. Do it. Frugal, not cheap.
Yeah, in fact, every year on Halloween, then James's church does pumpkin painting.
Yes.
And he always drops one off mysteriously in the middle of night and just sets it on the front porch for us.
It'll just show up at 11:30. I'm like, oh, well, looks like James and Hannah stopped by.
It's like a family tradition now that they leave me a painted pumpkin on the front porch after they are done using it for their harvest festival at church, which is actually a really fun thing to do. After lunch, another scenario, ready? After lunch and a card party, women gathered up all the paper napkins that were laid out. Oh, a woman gathered up all the paper napkins that were laid out. If they looked like they hadn't been used, she saved them for another day. I've done this.
So I'm not sure about taking it directly off places that have been used, but if there are empty spots, none of that stuff has been touched. So I would definitely take that plastic silverware, the plates, the napkins, whatever. Those are going to be thrown away anyway.
I have gone around like after a family dinner, and if napkins didn't look like they were used, I kept them. So I'm feeling like I could resonate with this. If you were at someone else's house, though, it sounds like she's hosting the lunch and card party. So my question is, are you at someone else's house and you're walking around where their guests sat and taking the leftover napkins? So Judy has kind of a companion question, though. She said on the rare occasion she goes out for a meal, she notices that servers leave way too many napkins at the table. I know that the extra unused napkins will be pitched, so I take them home to use them, cheap or frugal.
Oh,
right?
that's...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
You actually work for a restaurant. So, Phil, your thoughts on napkin gathering at the restaurant?
Yeah, I think that's okay, but I wouldn't take it from like a spot that's not yours, because you don't know what has been touched, what hasn't, and I wouldn't feel super comfortable taking it from any place that wasn't mine.
But do you throw them out?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Confirmation. All right, and your thoughts?
No, pretty much the same thing. If it's at your table, go ahead and take it. That's part of what you're paying for. But don't be gathering stuff from other tables. That's just weird.
And don't go up to, like, if it's a self-serve napkin place, don't go up and, like, be grabbing 20 napkins.
No.
And then taking 20 napkins. Don't grab 20 ketchups, 20 mustards, 20. Do people do that?
Yeah. No,
Wowzers.
it's usually the tables that have, like, young kids that I'll see that they've left a bunch of unused condiments on the table, and I'll have to pick them up and put them in our bin for cleaning. Mm-hmm. The napkins, not the napkins, the condiments. Yeah. I'd be concerned if we were putting the napkins in to be cleaned.
Now, that being said, when I'm ordering my food, I will usually order 1 or 2 extra dip packets that I'm not going to use so I can pack it for my lunch the next day.
Okay. Thoughts on that? Is he being cheap or frugal? Zelda. Last year, one arm of the frame of my glasses broke. Instead of buying a new frame, I asked the optometrist just to replace that one arm. They have a box they keep with spare arms in it.
No idea.
I would never have thought of this, I have to be honest. He found one arm that looked almost exactly like the frame and replaced it. It cost me absolutely nothing. No charge for the arm, no charge for the service. You don't notice the difference and it still works perfectly. Cheap or frugal?
That's absolutely frugal. Apparently, that's what your optometrist's box is for. So, and it didn't cost you an arm and a leg.
And she got an arm.
I was going to say an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Not only do I think it's frugal, I would now do it. Mm-hmm. I never would have crossed my mind, and I absolutely love that tip. I'm going to use it. Magda. If I have a runny nose in home, I use soft toilet paper to clean my nose with. Much cheaper than using tissues all the time. Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We walk around. In fact, in one video, this was, I don't know, in the last year or two, we were walking around the house shooting some parts of our home, and I had a toilet tissue, like it was, toilet paper that was sitting on the edge of a table. And one of the viewers said, "So you were using that for your head cold?" I'm like, yes. It's like they understood immediately why that was sitting there at the edge of my coffee table. Absolutely.
Okay, if we're sick, we'll just be walking around carrying our tissue rolls.
Our different rolls of toilet paper.
That's absolutely true. You shake the crumbs out of all of your bread bags and carefully air dry them and store them in a glass jar until you have enough to make your meatball recipe. And use the crumb you saved to make the meatballs.
No, please.
No, let's not.
Now,
Okay.
we will save the bags. Those bread bags are perfectly fine as long as they don't have, holes in them. We have a drawer just for bread bags because they're easy one-use bags. But the crumbs, I do not trust those. Those will go stale if you're not treating them properly. Mm-hmm. And that will just be nasty.
I'm thinking, how many breadcrumbs does it take to make meatballs?
I feel like it would take a
take
year
a
worth
lot.
of bread just to fill up that jar.
It would take us a long time. We don't go through bread that much. But a woman cooks breakfast for all of her grandchildren. Mm-hmm. And when they finished eating, she shoos them from the table. And she takes a clean plate, makes her own breakfast out of what the kids left on their plates.
I'm not sure I'm doing this one, but... So you have done this.
Oh, I have. It's like a million times. You didn't even notice. When you guys were young, I just lived off of the leftovers. That's why I never made my own plate. Heck yes. Yep. Long as somebody wasn't sick, I was eating the leftovers. I wasn't going to let them go to waste. Although, I will say, when you were really young, you when you're 2 or 3 years old, if you put your little hands on your little hips and said, "I'm not going to eat this."
Oh, then it's being saved, and you're eating that for supper.
Oh, absolutely. No, that I did not eat it. You guys got it later. I was like, no big deal. I'll just put this away, honey. When you're hungry, let me know. And 30 minutes later, you're like, I'm hungry. And I got it back out again and said, here you go. And you're like, I don't want that. I'm like, great. I'll just put it away. When you're hungry, you let me know. And we'd play that dance for, 3 or 4 times before you finally went, that's looking really good. I'm like, well, here you go. Let's see. This was another interesting one. I saved potato peelings and cured them in vinegar in the refrigerator for a week. So basically, she pickled the potato peelings. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if these were like the potato peels from baked potatoes or raw. I'm assuming raw potatoes. Okay. So she drained them after a week, puts them in a single layer on a cookie sheet, bakes them with a sprinkle of salt for a free snack, cheap or frugal.
That says frugal.
It's frugal, yeah.
You're going to throw those away anyway. Use your vegetable shavings. And don't just do that with potatoes. I would do that with carrots. I think those are equally functional.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like she's making her own salt and vinegar chips.
Yeah. The only problem I see is that some of those shavings can be like really thin. I don't think you're going to get much material there.
So make sure you have enough potato with them to make it worth your while. So it's more like a chip instead of just the skin.
But no, I'd do that.
Not only do I think it's frugal, I would do this.
I would absolutely do that.
I feel like I should do this. Okay, here's a dental hygiene scenario. Mm-hmm. When you absolutely cannot squeeze any more toothpaste out of a tube, you cut it open, scrape your toothbrush inside to get 6 more brushings out of that same tube, and it'll last over 3 days.
So, I would do this once. But don't be stretching it out, because then you're contaminating the toothpaste.
Well, yeah, but it's just her using it. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, where are you getting 6 from?
Well, clearly there was a lot of toothpaste left in her tube. Like at the top there, there's a lot of, when you're in there and you're going, and you're making noises like you're trying to get more toothpaste out, and you start praying that God will supernaturally allow the toothpaste to come out the top of the tube, especially.
I rebuke this toothpaste.
Especially if you don't have enough. Like if you don't have any more toothpaste in the house, like I've been there, you know what I'm saying?
So yeah, make sure you're really squeezing it out so you get the most of it. But I have admittedly considered cutting open a toothpaste tube. But I would do this once. Because you've got all kinds of stuff on your toothbrush that you don't want to be messing with, even if you're the only one using it. I would just do it once and throw the rest away, because it's not worth chancing it for another toothbrushing.
I've cut open toothpaste tubes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely, I've cut open toothpaste tubes. There really is a significant amount of toothpaste in there. But yeah, I mean, you think about it, like we all use the same toothpaste tube.
Yeah.
And our little toothbrush gets where, at the opening of the toothpaste.
Yeah, but if you're scraping it around in an opened up tube, then I wouldn't do that. I would do it once, but I wouldn't do it any time after that.
Yeah.
A person habitually uses the bathroom at a store before leaving to save on that little bit of water, soap, and toilet paper at home.
Gotta be careful what store you're doing this in.
Yeah.
Really?
Because I don't trust a lot of public toilets.
Oh, interesting.
I really don't. I find that some of those are just not cleaned often enough.
But they are where you work.
Well, it's because we clean them twice a day.
There you go.
Should be cleaned a lot more than that, but it's twice a day.
If you're in a nice store with a nice bathroom, go ahead.
Okay, and you can say, this is like free commercial for the place you work for. You work for?
Chick-fil-A.
All right, so there you go. That bathroom is clean. A man who attends a potluck with his coworkers. Mm-hmm. Beverages are provided by management. On the way out the door, he slips a can of soda into each pocket for later on. Thoughts?
If the meeting's over and no one else is getting food, that stuff is just going to be either pitched or taken by someone else. So, yeah, I have been known to take food after a meeting before.
Like a lot, I think.
Yes.
That's true.
I'm a food guy, so I will take the food.
Okay, Phil?
Yeah, I would do this too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, so this is an interesting conversation. This is the scenario, guys. So this brought this to my mind. I'm going to throw it out there and see what you think.
Okay.
Oftentimes, when you stay at hotels, they've got the continental breakfast. And like a lot of times, your dad and I would take like an apple or an orange for each of us to eat later in the day, because we often tried to like do just a late breakfast and then an early supper. So we were only really eating twice a day and we would eat out just that one time. Is that cheap or is it frugal?
I really don't see a problem with that. No. That's what it's there for. Make use of it.
Okay, so the fresh fruit is game. But I suppose if you walk out there with pockets of stuff.
There's a limit to it.
Yeah.
All right.
But if it's just one or two things, go for it.
Okay, Einhart wants to know, transferring product like shampoo or liquid soap into a smaller container instead of buying travel mini products version.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I went on a month-long internship over the summer, and I wasn't buying those tiny things. There's a serious markup for that tiny packaging. So I just bought little containers from Dollar Tree and filled them up with stuff from home. The only problem is that you really have to make sure that your bottles are squeeze bottles, because my shampoo was not in a squeeze bottle, and that made it really weird, because whenever I took a shower, I had to unscrew the head and just hope I'm getting enough.
Squeezable bottles. There you go. You guys, Larry brewed more coffee. Larry, stick your head in here. Bring us more coffee.
All right.
This is probably the first coffee chat since we've been doing coffee chats that we did not buy premium coffee for this. We were buying it. What is? I can't remember.
Actually,
what
it is
kind of
premium coffee.
What is it?
Ooh!
It's spilled coffee.
Yes.
Wait a minute, I'll clean it up.
You just can't get good help these days, guys.
You saying you're paying him?
This is Seattle's best.
Oh, there. Let's hold it up because we always do this for coffee chat. Larry, you can get in here. Get down low. Hold up the coffee.
Seattle's best, and that is it's toasted hazelnut.
Okay.
Ooh.
Look, I didn't even know it was premium coffee.
Yeah.
All right, so that is what
good
we're
coffee.
doing for coffee chat. After a baby shower, a woman gathers up all the wrapping paper and irons it flat to use again.
No!
Why?
Do not be the person who recycles paper, please. Don't be reusing the wrapping paper. I don't know who does this, but it should not be done.
They need to be stopped.
Now, when I am wrapping gifts, I will keep all the scraps aside, just in case I can use them, and you can cut off little strips to use as labels. But after everything's wrapped, that wrapping paper is dedicated to the trash or recycling. That is it. You don't reuse it.
I have reused wrapping paper.
But you
Now-
don't now.
When
so.
you guys, especially when you guys were little, like we had no money, and I was like, "Honey, can you open that real carefully for mommy?" I tell you the other thing I do. This is my tip for wrapping paper. I go to garage sales and I find big rolls of like wallpaper. This is attractive patterns of wallpaper. It's a little thicker than traditional wrapping paper.
The only problem is the texture.
Yeah, but I get it for like $1 a roll. And it was so funny because I just sent a gift over to James's house for his 28th birthday. And they were over there. I was not over there. They were watching him unwrap his gifts. So Philip takes a video for me of James unwrapping his gift. And he's unwrapping it. He goes, "Mom wrapped it with wallpaper." And I'm like, they know. It's my thing.
Using other stuff for wrapping's fine. I wrapped a gift in aluminum foil because it was funny.
Yeah, no, you should tell why.
So Phil and I got James and Hannah a tortilla blanket, and it's already vacuum sealed into this cylinder. So I took a sheet of aluminum foil and wrapped it up and wrote their names in Sharpie to make it look like a burrito. It was very fun.
And we should say tortilla blanket is a blanket that is shaped like a tortilla. It looks
Yes,
like
Just
a
a
tortilla.
circle tortilla pattern through a blanket.
There you go. Here's the next one from Powerful Money Habits. Number 1, he gives you 2 scenarios.
Okay.
Or he or she gives you 2 scenarios. Number 1, you look at the menu before you meet friends at a restaurant to see what's in your budget.
Oh, absolutely.
I do this.
And number 2, regifting Christmas presents.
So, yeah. If you're not going to use it and you know you're not going to use it, bless someone else with it.
Just make sure you're not accidentally re-gifting it to the same people who gave it to you. That would be
That would be awkward.
That would make for a really awkward Christmas day.
So I have to say, there's a version of this going on in our house this year because our oldest son, James, and his wife, Hannah, are going to see her folks. And the plane tickets were significantly higher than they thought that they were going to be. So they texted the family and said, hey, we're kind of out of money. So we will gift each of you with something meaningful from our own home that we think that you would enjoy. So I actually can't wait to see what they gift me with. And I think it's perfectly fine. And as you all now know, I would regift using the gift wrap from the year before. But my sons would not.
Now, if it's a bag,
gift bags,
gift bags, gift baskets, those are completely up for grabs. Those aren't damaged when you open them. You damage the paper, no matter how careful you are.
Yeah. It's gonna rip. That's what paper does.
Unless it's wallpaper. The wallpaper might actually be recyclable more because it's so thick.
The next scenario, and I cannot wait to see what you say about this.
Okay.
My husband and I differ on our opinions about giving money to our adult children.
Oh.
I say give them help only if they really need it, and he is more, this is in parentheses, generous. I'm not sure what that means. Am I cheap or frugal?
There are times when I've been given money, even when I don't necessarily deeply need it.
Really? Did I give it to you, or did your dad give it to you?
Probably a mixture.
Yeah, probably.
Probably a mixture.
Okay, this happened more in high school, so I was still technically in the age range where I was supposed to be paying for stuff on my own. But there was a trip to...
the Shakespeare Festival?
Yes.
Yes.
A trip to the Shakespeare Festival, and I did not remotely take advantage of the you pay for half of stuff rule. And so I begged them, because I never took advantage of that rule, to pay the $50 for me to go. So I think that's one of the major times where you actually did gift me money, even though I didn't necessarily need it.
That was a school thing, and that was a very cool field trip.
That was awesome.
In fact, I think you both went one year.
Yep.
I could not
Last
go.
year.
I had broken my arm and could not go. So Daniel, because he was already out of high school, he was in college, went as one of the chaperones, but I still had to pay for his ticket. So so you went, and you went also, and you had like this adventure at the Chicago Shakespeare Festival. And it was totally worth it. That was one of the things that Larry and I did, because we did give you more and more responsibility for paying for your own things, but we balanced that, I think, pretty well with when something special came up. If we could afford to do it to help you significantly, or to just pay for it, offer to pay for it, then we did. But you guys were always incredibly grateful when we said, oh, we got that, don't worry about it.
Yes.
Because you guys were saving a significant amount of your income toward goals, like buying your first car and paying for all your insurance and paying for your gas. And
Yeah, because we couldn't have a car until we could pay for it and a year of insurance.
That is true. That is another thing. So we had the mom and dad matching gift program where we matched the first $2,000 that they saved for a car, and then they bought the first car with cash. But before they purchased a car, they had to have 1 year of insurance saved and in the bank ready to pay that first year of insurance. So that did take a little while. How old were you? Were you 18?
I think it was senior year, so I'd have to be 17 or 18.
18. You had to be
18.
18 because in our state you have to be 18 to purchase something,
Oh,
have it in your own name.
Yep.
So you were 18 and you have not yet purchased a car.
Nope.
But you have that fund. It is robust.
I have $8,000 saved.
It is robust right now. So that's how we deal with cars. I don't know how we skewed from what we were we're talking about giving things to children. So the first $2,000 of their car we help fund.
So, no, I'd say in some cases, give a gift, but don't be doing this all the time. Your children are adults and can pay for their own stuff.
There you go.
But for something special, go ahead.
Okay. A person joins their local giveaway or buy nothing groups on Facebook.
That's what they're there for, yeah. Unless you're only there to snatch things up immediately and resell them. Do not be that person.
I have seen that. Mm-hmm. It's like, no,
That just destroys
don't.
those groups. Once you have people who are doing that, the groups dissolve because no one wants to be involved in that.
We have a vacuum cleaner that we got from a Buy Nothing group, and we have given several things away on Buy Nothing groups. We had a sofa sleeper and a chair that we just put out in front of the house. I think we did have it on the Buy Nothing group, but we put it out in front of the house with free on it. And by the time somebody in the Buy Nothing group even responded, there was some lovely students from the local university that drove by and were like, yes! They were so excited. I've never seen young men that excited before. In fact, we were like, so we got a bookcase in there we're getting ready to get rid of too. And they're like, oh, can we have it? They were so grateful. It was awesome. They were super excited.
Going along with this, even further than a Buy Nothing group, trash picking.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Because we have done that. One of our neighbors, it was probably 3/4 of a mile up the street, had a pretty nice bookcase set out to the side. And Mom and I were on a walk. It was there. It was available. We asked real quick just to make sure it was really trash. But yeah, I lugged that thing on my back all the way home.
It was so heavy. It was so sad. We were like a mile from home. I was like, honey, can I help you? Nope, Mom, I'm good. I'm like, great. I'm just going to keep walking, cheering you on. It was heavy.
But yeah, that thing is in my room. It has been there for a couple years now. And it is the perfect place to store my books and games.
So there you go. You see it, and that was actually the next question was you see a shark vacuum on the curb for garbage day. You take it home, you clean it up, it works. Cheap, frugal, or cringe? Absolutely.
Absolutely frugal.
Oh yeah. We have brought home numerous things from other people's garbage and used them for a really long time.
In fact, when we were really young, we made it a point to go for our walks late at night on, I think Sunday was the trash night.
Garbage night.
And we would go around looking at stuff that was sitting out of the curb because it was there.
And it was to be taken. This next one's kind of lying about your child's age to get them into an event for less money or for free.
No,
No.
that's deceptive. That's more than
Dishonest.
just cheap. Don't do that.
Not tipping when you've gotten good service.
It depends on the place. I am not tipping a barista for stirring up a cup of coffee. That's silly.
So where do you draw the line? Because you work in a service industry.
I mean, for me, the only person I tip is my hairdresser. That's it. She's got me covered. You know?
Never insult someone with a razor.
No. They're coming to my skull. You know, I really like the job you do with my hair. It's great.
No, she is amazing.
She's very good.
She's very, very good. And she deserves an amazing tip because she does great things for his hair. So you tip your hairdresser.
If you go out to a nice restaurant too, I think that server is worthy of a tip. But if it's fast food, I don't know. That's kind of a gray area.
I don't tip at fast food. Sorry, Phil.
Even if you're sitting.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I don't
So there's actually a story there. So we are allowed to accept tips. However, unless they are given directly to us, we put it in a tip jar that then goes to our thing called Pay It Forward. So if a guest is really struggling to get the money for their purchase, we'll use the money from that to pay for it and just cover it.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that. That actually is... You know what? I would be more prone to tipping if I knew that my tip was going into a jar that was designed for people who came in who really needed a helping hand. I would give generously, and I give generously anyway. So I feel strongly about tips. I think tipping is way overdone right now in the United States of America. I do not understand this tipping culture. I think, and I would love to hear, I know a lot of our viewers are from overseas, not in the U.S. What is tipping like in your country? Because in the U.S., tipping is huge, but is huge because you can pay subpar wages to those who are servers. And okay, I have an opinion. I have strong opinions about that, but we will not get into those opinions. What we will get into is my opinion on tipping. We do not go out to eat very often, but when we go out to eat, we tip very, very generously because servers work really, really hard for their money, and especially if they're doing a great job, they deserve every single penny that they get. And I think over tipping should become a thing because we definitely over tip. We tip a huge amount of our bill because we feel very passionate about this. Okay. Never using your dryer, even though your dryer exists in your laundry room. Phil, how do you feel about that?
See, line drying is fine during the summer if it weren't for the towels.
Towels need to be dried in a dryer.
It sits up like a piece of corrugated cardboard, and it feels like a scratch pad.
Yeah. No, it becomes sandpaper. It's nice, light, and fluffy when it comes from the dryer. When it is line dried, it is painful.
So I gotta tell you, the people who are watching, this was totally a setup because Philip and I just had a spirited discussion last week about the fact that he wanted to have his uniform washed, which is fine, and he knows how to wash. But I said, we're line drying right now because we're trying really, really hard to get our energy bill under control because it is just like right now. And so I said, we're only, you gotta, there's 5 lines in the utility room. Make sure you hang up and make sure you do a full load. If you're going to do your work clothes, like there's a whole bunch more stuff you can put in with it. And then, hang it all up on the line. He looked at me, he goes, why do you even have a dryer? So that is exactly why this line here exists in this script is because it exists. It exists for emergencies. That was not an emergency.
Then what do you call an emergency?
You had
towels should be an emergency.
You had 24 hours before you had to go to work. There was plenty of time for that baby to line dry. I'm just going to say.
The other thing is that the furnace room is also the editing closet. So when you're editing, you just got pants dangling in your face.
You're dodging a t-shirt going left and right.
It's like, but it's because it's winter. So, I can get a full, really big load of laundry hung up on those lines in that utility room. Now, clearly, you're getting a pretty good example of what frugality looks like in our home. If you would like even more examples, a couple of years ago, we had our 2 oldest sons come into the studio and we interviewed them about being raised frugal. And they answered all of our viewer questions about what frugality really looked and, more importantly, what it felt like when they were being raised in a frugal family. That video is right over there. Go take a look.